Good everybody, it's Sunday morning and 10 o'clock here in Cape Town, 9 o'clock in La Sable d'Olonne, and it's a pretty cool day here now. I mean, a very good day, sun shining, no wind, all the rest of it close into Cape Town. So we'll talk about the ETAs in a minute for Simon and then Kirsten and Tapio and also Pat, not forgetting Pat, of course. But for the now, we'll go straight into the back end of the fleet just to give you an idea of what's happening there. So Guy Waits is, in fact, I'll just pick that up. You can see it's sort of funny stuff going on here. It's going to get really interesting. You've got sort of holes everywhere, lots of confusion, you might say, not a lot of consistency. But anyway, the guys at the back are sort of doing okay. Guy doing 4 knots at the moment, nice northeasterly. He'll be keen to get down south, southeast, because he knows he's up pretty high. Good to have breeze. He's on a hurry up. And Arnaud's been a bit everywhere. If you look at the track here, he was drifting around for a while. You can see over here, you see a real distinct zigzag in the course, straight down, then back up again, and not making a lot of speed at all, 2.8 knots. So he's obviously got a lack of breeze, which will be frustrating because he wants to get to Hobart and Cape Town. So Ian doing the same, 4.9 knots, good speed, going due south, which is a good thing, and because if you come back, he's a fair way up there. And Elliot going northeast, not sure why, other than the fact that he's got headwinds. That's pretty obvious. So at least he's been on the move. That's the main thing. Whoop, I've lost his box now. 4.6 knots, and in the last 24 hours he's still been moving 110 miles. So not bad, but there's some sort of a little system developing right over the top. You can see here it's coming around, so who knows what that's going to bring. But before we get into the rest of the fleet, I'll just scale it back a bit and we'll look at the weather that they're likely to get for the next couple of days. That's a bit too far. Okay, so back end of the fleet, if we come forward a day, that's this time tomorrow, a lot of light winds. Elliot's in amongst something, he's got a patch of breeze there, but he'll be further ahead, so he's probably going to stop and go slow and all that sort of stuff in. Herbert Jones is driving into a hole. He might be a little bit on the other side by then, but I doubt it. There's some soft patches coming. Arnaud's the same. Guy should be okay. So that's for the next day. And then on the 8th, we come through another day. Yeah, Ian's going to stop. He's going to be down here somewhere, but it's not a lot of breeze there. Nord should be getting a breeze by then and keep moving. Guy's fine. Elliot's fine as well, but he'll at best be making east. So anyway, they'll be on the move for the next few days. So that's cool. If we come up to the rest of the fleet, we'll look at the middle of the fleet first. Ayrton has been reporting gusts up to 50 knots and 4 or 5 metre seas. Obviously localised conditions, he sent it, because normally if we see something coming that's forecast over sort of 35 knots, gusting higher, we will actually then give an alert, this, that and the other, but you can see quite clearly this is showing 25, maybe gusting 30, and if we look at the sea state, the sea's not small, but it's not huge. If we go into waves here, Ayrton's right in the thick of it, but that would be, 4, maybe up a bit higher, 4s and 5s, but the wind is not showing a lot. Jeremy's got a lot calmer conditions. The guys in the middle, they've been, slight seas for sure because they haven't had much wind for a while. So back to the wind here. Jeremy plodding along, 4.9 knots. I heard on his radio conversation with some friends here in Cape Town that he's going to cross the photo gate line and then head straight down to Simonstown, is it? I think it is. He knows that area well, and he'll anchor up there and try and solve his barnacle problem. And so Ayrton's just making his way, doing okay, quite slow at the moment. He may be snugged down, 3.1 knots the previous 4 hours. He'd only been doing 2.5 knots, so I think he's just taking it easy in that localised weather. And there's probably this bit of it's not a front, but it's certainly a stronger wind, that went over him, but now it's backing off, and you'll see in a minute that it's going to slow up quite a bit. Captain Goog seems to be at one with his boat. And Nuri has been flying, he's holding his own against Damien to a degree. Damien's now flying 7.2 knots and Goog's backed off, but for quite a few days he's been doing really well. And yeah, Damien's got there's a patch of heavier breeze there. I'll build this up so you can see it. I forget sometimes that you're on a slightly smaller screen if I'm doing that. But remembering you can all get onto the own tracker on the GGR website and have a play exactly the same as I'm doing now. But there is a distinct patch of heavier breeze suggested here, and it's just gone over good. And Damien is picking that up, so he's doing 7.2, and Abolish not so much, but he's lacking a bit of breeze. They're going dead downwind at the moment. He's doing 5.3, so it'll be interesting to see where these two are by the time they get to Cape Town. I get the impression that Damien is sailing faster than Abolish. So in terms of human effort, maybe the boats are very similar. Abolish's boat is very light and simple. It used to be the old PRB from Philippe Peche's time in 2018, and it's been prepared really well. So it's certainly not heavy, and Damien's has also got an excellent preparation. So, and they've both got good sails. So these two are matched really well. They're both good sailors, Maybe Damien's a bit more of a hot competitive sailor. He's done a lot more what I call competitive racing, but around the boys racing and tough, single-handed racing, Figaro and so on. But Abolish is a tough seaman, he's had a lot of time in the ocean. He's already done solo circumnavigation non-stop before, and so this is a great thing to watch there, a bit of fun. Okay, so let's look at the Pat is down here and sitting in a good breeze at the moment, 5.6. Tapio's dropped into the hole that we talked about yesterday. Kirsten's the same, so not a lot going on there. 3.6 in the last 4 hours. It's just this position has just rolled over, by the way. I think it's rolled over right now. Yes, so previously he'd been doing 4.5 or so, I think it was. Now he's down to 3.8 in the last 3 hours, so the last 4 hours. So he's slowing down, and Kirsten's the same. This was the problem that I suggested before, which is doing 1.9 knots. In the previous, so that's for the last 4 hours, doing 1.9 knots. In the 4 hours before that, she was doing sort of up around 5s and 5 and a bit, so was moving, but now she's definitely fallen in the hole. Simon, we'll talk about that in a minute. He's on the closing run into Cape Town and should be in here in a few hours, a number of hours. So this will determine what's happening here. If we anyway, let's just follow the weather through and see what it looks like. I'll animate it for these guys. See how we go. I'll get rid of that now, and we'll just pop it through. Everyone's another hour. So it's not working. Why is that not working? Activate it again. Now it's working. So this is rolling through for this afternoon. You can see the breeze there in a matter of hours. Here we go. And if we looking at, so we start looking at Tapio and Kirsten, they're not going to be sitting there for long without breeze. So this is 9:30, 10:30. Kirsten gets in the breeze a bit quicker than Tapio. Okay, so but not much quicker because Tapio's now getting back into it. But generally, just watching these two and Pat as well, there's slightly more breeze down south than there is up north, and that may give Kirsten a slight advantage, but generally you can see here she's always in a bit more of the green, and certainly they'll be making their way across towards Cape Town, so they're ahead of their actual position now. The guys in the midfleet here got plenty of breeze up until this is now tomorrow, getting in tomorrow morning. The back here, they'll just be holding on to this breeze. Kirsten and Tapio got plenty of breeze pushing them towards Cape Town, but as you can see, Kirsten's going to have a little bit more breeze than Tapio, but Tapio will have maybe a little bit more on the beam, which will be a bit faster sailing. You can make more of it. So this is going to be a real race to the finish, these two. And back here you can see what's happening. They'll be, keeping up, but the speeds will be down around 5s and stuff. Pat will be doing okay, but it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, touch wood, for him to catch these two into Cape Town. So Simon's probably going to be first. And then this is a toss-up, Kirsten and Tapio. We'll see what happens. And Pat will come in after that if all goes well, and then we come into the other guys. So that's a couple of days, and then just pushing it through. So that's on Sunday. Then on Monday, again, you can see what's happening here with Tapio and Kirsten. Tapio will be up higher heading into Cape Town. Kirsten will be down lower heading into Cape Town. And so a little bit more breeze by the look of it for Kirsten. So, that's going to be interesting. And I'm suggesting, so this is now this is now Tuesday, and they should be in sometime on Tuesday morning. So at this stage, they're going to be, around about here somewhere, and it's going to be very interesting because there's, wind shadow here in Cape Town. It makes it very hard to predict the exact time of arrival. If they keep sailing, they may decide to motor for a few hours just to get in and out. We'll have to wait and see, because Kirsten will stay also for a bit, and so will Tapio. But so we'll forget about the back end of the fleet now. We'll enlarge this and just do one other interesting thing here. If we level peg for the who's going to be second, so to speak, if we put that one there, so Tapio's now 200 near enough to 270 miles from Cape Town, and Kirsten is near enough to 290. So you got 290 versus 270. So she's 20 miles behind. That's 4 hours at 5 knots. It's going to be very close because she may get a little bit of a lift over that time and a bit more breeze, so maybe a bit more boat speed. But either way, it'll be sometime on Tuesday, okay, for those two. Now, if we get rid of that and we look at the final closing moments for Simon and measure this off, you can see that's not the weather now. This is the weather real time now, and you can see here that he's already sailing into the lighter winds. His current speed's 5.3 knots. He's been holding 6 knots all during the night, 6 plus, and he's this is 5.3 knots for the past 4 hours, okay, and the 4 hours before that it was about the same, 5.3. But there's very little wind here in Cape Town itself, and if we look at, give it some distance perspective right now from there to the line is about 20 miles. So if you're doing 5 knots, it's about 4 hours. So local time here now is 10:15, and that puts it in about 2:15. However, you can see there's no wind closing the line. And if we say, there's sort of 10 miles, so 10 miles out, the breeze is going to drop off dramatically. And I'm not sure what he'll want to do. And so you can forget about the 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock this afternoon local time, depending on if he's going to sail all the way in or whether he decides to motor a bit. He does have some work to do on the boat, so he's going to anchor, it'll be up to Simon to determine that. We'll be on VHF radio contact with him. I'm just pulling this in now. This is the main Windy TY site. I'll just update that for the weather, because we can actually get this is pretty accurate now because I subscribe to the upgraded service, so hopefully I'm getting my value for money here. This is the current wind now, remembering that the distance from that hump to here is about 10 miles, so this is about 10 miles out real time now. So that's 10 o'clock, so by say that's 1 o'clock this afternoon, it's dropped back to 8 knots wherever I put this as the wind strength. So 10 miles out, it's about 10 knots as you're moving in at 8, 7, 6, and he's got to turn the corner here. If I build that up, you'll be able to see where we're going. I'll build it up one more. Oh, we're into Cape Town proper. This is the V&A waterfront. The Royal Cape Yacht Club is just in the corner, and the finish line is just across here, or the gate line. Oh, sorry, it's just across there. So there's 6 knots of breeze coming down here. It's very slow, and Simon is the one that'll determine the true time that he crosses, if he wants to motor or whether he's drifting with spinnakers and so on. So, but it certainly won't be before. By the look of it, won't be before sort of 3 o'clock or something like that. I'll think about all this, put another written update on Facebook here for those following that want to come out. If you are watching this to come out, remember you can't touch Simon, the boat, or anything like that. So please keep your distance, because he might anchor for a while, either in there's a couple of spots he's got. So we'll be out there doing a live. Thanks to the Royal Cape Yacht Club. That's their Burgee in the bottom left corner of this report. We're really happy to be able to use their rib, and the support from the members there and the various committees that are helping us coordinate the whole thing. So, and our own volunteers, which we'll introduce later on when we're out there. Okay, that's it. So have a good Sunday, and we'll see you later. It'll be good to